Welcome to another edition of the Crown's Way video newsletter. I'm your host, Kyle Roscoe, managing partner, Tony Rollo, there to my right. Tony, we had a very eventful weekend this past, not only, or I should say full week, not only with everything going on at the sale, but also we had two races come up. Both of them went about okay. We'll talk about those as well as around the barn talk. We have two races coming up this weekend to talk about, or this full week with Shards and Second City Saint. We have race recaps of Vote No and the Hund, and then plans for Buck and Otago. But then we will also get into the sale, the pinhooking group, including the reveal of Select C, which is that Street Sense filly that we ended up buying at the sale. Tony, my friend, very eventful weeks for Crown's Way over the next coming or over these past 2 weeks, but that's the way we like it. We like it busy.
Yeah, no, it was good. Going to Ocala, being down there for 4 or 5 days, and then going straight there to Lexington, home for a weekend, and then back down to Louisville for the Derby. So we're rocking and rolling, and we're getting into the busy part of our calendar.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you because I'll also be flying down Thursday for the Derby. It's going to be a pretty insane week, and hopefully we can cap off or start our week early with a couple races we'll talk about here in a second. Tony, two quick ones. I know Otago and Buck are both working steadily, and they're working towards their next races, which should be coming up here in a couple weeks. So we'll start with them two, then we'll get into the race recap and then the race previews.
Yeah, so Otago, we scratched him out of the race in New York last week. We just didn't want to ship up there for a horse that we didn't think we could beat, and it's a long ship to run for second. So I believe the target for him is May 7th at Churchill. Buck is working solid back. I saw pictures of him that Margaret posted. I'll get those uploaded on T-Lore. But he's gonna, what did I say? May 12th at Indiana is the target. So that race would seem to make a lot of sense. We've been waiting for turf to run him as well.
Yeah, and getting, a lot of those Midwest, New York's back into the turf racing as well. So a lot more spots will open up around there. But Tony, going out of that and back into the races that happened this past weekend, we had both Vote No and the Hund run. We'll talk about Vote No first because he was definitely the more interesting race of the two. I'll show the replay as well and we can talk through it, Tony. But he had a very eventful trip going through. We thought he ran very well considering the circumstances, but I'll show the replay on the screen right now and I'll let you talk through it, Tony.
Okay, so you already missed the first time we got checked.
It's because it was like this.
Yeah,
but he's right here in the back.
Yeah, right there. He's already been checked and has fallen towards the back. That's just a product of being in the one hole. Everyone tries to come over to save ground, and you either kind of got to go or you got to drop back. I don't think this was as severe because our plan was to drop back and make one run. But you'd rather get back there gradually rather than having to slam on the brakes. So right here, we're sitting in a good spot. They're going pretty quick up front. But I think what's happened is Mikkel is thinking, I need to find a place to save a little ground after getting checked the first time. And he's going to be looking for a hole to split. And right there, actually, Baby Max, Kelsey's other horse, closes the hole. We're very lucky not to go down there.
Really?
And from there on, I let out a little profanity that probably most of the Keeneland grandstand heard. But
between your side of the Keeneland grandstand and mine, they definitely heard something. I'll promise that.
So now the race is over for us, but Mikkel does do a good job and gets him out and into the clear here. And Vote showed the run that he had last year. So the positive out of this race is I do think we have Vote back to where we had him last year, and it should be an exciting summer. But it's always kind of stinks to think you were the best horse in the race and you end up losing a photo for fifth.
Yeah, I mean, he's into the bit here. I mean, he wants to run. He's going the whole way through. So it's not like he's given up by any means. Only ended up losing this by 3.5. Considering the two checks that we've had in this race and the other trouble that he had to get through to, get out towards the top of the stretch, I was very happy considering what happened through the race.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think we got him back. I think we'll look for all of the the overnight stakes that we can run in. Yeah, the 87 buyer, considering the 2 checks. I think personally this might be as good as any race he's ever run for us. And what we had to go through between the Colonel Bradley and this race, with the ulcers and he colicked and had to go to the clinic. So it's been a long process, but one thing I always can count on Kelsey is she's going to do right by the horse, and she's not going to run the horse before they're ready. And so I think she did a great job getting Vogt back to where we need him to be, and it should be an exciting summer with him.
Well, say from the highs of what we had last summer to the lows of legitimately almost losing him over the winter, and now coming back into this race with the trouble and him showing, I agree. I think he ran probably one of the best races he's run. And now I know there's talks with you and I about maybe going to 1 1/8 because there was 1.5 miles. What's it called? A mile and a half.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with that monster.
No, that was a very good horse that popped out in the Elkhorn at 1.5 miles. And if we go into the big 1.5 mile races, he will be there. So yeah, I had that at Monster, but 1 1/8 still might be very good for a horse like Vogt because he's run well at 1 mile and he's run well at 1.5 miles. You saw how good of a closing kick, barring the trouble he had at 1 mile. 1 1/8 might be right up the alley. So lots of avenues open for Vogt coming up here in the summer. But the Hund, Tony also ran. He ran Sunday at Keeneland, and I wouldn't say he necessarily ran bad by any means. Kind of very even. I know your thought that Kelsey was. They always thought 2 turns with this horse, but you mentioned to me before the show was he ran so well first time out sprinting. Might as well keep trying it. They said he ran perfectly fine, but might not be what he wants to do now going forward. We kind of have the idea.
Yeah, I think they're just too quick for him. And like you said, we wanted, we always thought long. He ran real good in that first time out to just get beat a neck. So the second time I didn't really worry about. We faced Volderdam in there. That was a really tough horse. He paired up Byers, pretty much ran the same race that he did in the maiden special weight. So I'd expect to move forward next time, and he'll definitely be going around 2 turns. And if he pops forward, we should see him with a better result. Now, if he runs 2 turns and it doesn't go as well, then we're going to have to reassess it. But I believe next time we run this horse and we can get out to 1 1/16, or where does they run 1 1/70 at Churchill when they run 2 turns? I'm not really looking at the 1 turn mile that they run there. We definitely want the full 2 turn experience. And I think we'll see him move forward.
And the thing is that I was going to mention, you already brought it up a little bit, was Churchill's going to have a lot of options for him in terms of those 2 turn maiden special weights. Do they run restricted maiden special weights going 2 turns at Churchill? I'm not sure if they do. Do they? Well, even better. Obviously, that'll hit him right between the eyes as we still qualify for that restricted. And the old Matt Bernier angle, for those that don't know, he always loves to talk about is you pair the buyer tops, you're due for a step forward. So hopefully that does come the way of the Hund. Like I said, not necessarily upset with how he ran. We were perfectly fine with it. Just might not be what he wants to do. And hopefully going longer is going to be the key for him. And we'll continue to keep everyone updated in the TLOR app on what is going to be the next step and what the next entry for him down the line. Tony, from the recaps to the previews, my friend, we have 2 previews coming up, including the return of everybody's horse in the barn, it seems like, in Shards. He runs this weekend at Aqueduct in an allowance optional 75. He's back going 6 furlongs, and he's on the outer turf at Aqueduct. I'll bring up on the screen right now. We are 12-1 on the morning line, but if Shards can return to what he's run in the past, he easily fits in a spot like this. The morning line favorite is number 3, John the Beerman, for Kendrick Carmouche and Rob Atras. That's a 2-1. Ran 100 buyer last time out, Tony. But again, Shards has also ran 100 buyer around this same type of configuration. So if he can get back to his races, and last time he ran an 87, it wasn't necessarily too far off. Again, if he can get back to it, there's no reason why we can't at least be competitive in here.
Yeah, what is this, 3rd off the layoff for Shards? So hopefully this is his peaking. We're getting him back to the grass where he's been very solid. And John the Beerman looks pretty tough, but also he's run one really good race off a long layoff. You never really know what he's going to do off of that. If he improves, we're probably all running for second. But I can see a big step back as well. And if he steps back, I think we're right there with the rest of the group. Yeah, he off the 2-year layoff last time coming out of the Chad Brown barn, just popped a crazy fast number at Fairgrounds. But with these, and as we talked about, he got a loan on the lead in that race. He's going to have to really work to get a loan on the lead in this race, as there's a lot of speed in there, which should set up for Shards' closing kick.
Yeah, and that's absolutely, and we talked about it. The one to the inside, what's up, bro, is super fast out of the gate. Only has one way to go. Menti has been very fast as well. John the Beerman, as we mentioned, Final Verdict, just to his outside's also been very fast. So there's a lot of speed in here, and all the way to the outside. Burhan, who's Chad Brown, second off the layoff, was also very quick out of the gate. And the treaty obligation hasn't been slow either. So lots of different speed options in here, Tony. Hopefully set it up for our boy. Again, I can show the time form, which DRF is a great tool to have for something like this. They denote it as a fast pace as well, and they have John the Beerman way back here. And if that's the case, he might be able to go back, to something in those mid 80s, which would be easily beatable for a lot of horses in this field. But the 1, 2, 4, and 10, the horses that I mentioned, are going out to be in front. But you see, John the Beerman ran a 122 number last time out. Shards has a 111 there, but you go back to what he was, 114s as well. And if John the Beerman regresses what he's running before, he's in the low hundreds. So even something in the teens for him would be easily beatable, or at least very competitive with us and our numbers that we've been running in the past.
Yeah. And we'll see where, again, this is another kind of make or break run for Shards here.
Yeah.
Now, is he going to return back to the stakes horse that we had, the low level stakes horse, or is this kind of his new normal, which is going to be in the mid 80s? I do think that the 87 is something to build off of. And if we can return to a mid 90s number in here, that would be perfect. I mean, that's where Smokin' Jake pretty much topped out at. And he was that prototypical low level stakes horse. So if we can get back there with Shards, then we can have a big year in front of him. And two, I mean, we have a lot of talent in the barn. It's just been trying to get them back to where they've been. And we got another opportunity to do it on Saturday.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to mention, Tony, is that you can see denoted here, he is in for the 75 tag. So obviously that was a decision made by you guys. What real quick thing before we move on, why do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think you kind of get to this point in their careers where you either got to go in the stakes races or you got to go into the allowance races for the tag. The last two races we were basically stakes at Turfway, even though they were under the allowance condition, and those came up to be a little bit too tough for us, especially first and second off the layoff. So now to run in this race, we only can run for the tag. So we need a confidence builder.
Yeah. And that's kind of the way I framed it to a lot of people who are asking me, because people that are part of the HHH Racing podcast are part of Shards' group. And when I was getting asked, I was like, yeah, just this kind of a confidence builder, and it's kind of make it or break it for him.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, if we lose him for 75, said he's been a fantastic horse in the barn. I think I don't know if you're necessarily going to lose him for 75. It's a pretty big price tag to take on a horse that kind of just on the form, just to say straight up, looks like he's regressing a little bit. So it might be a big step to try and take for 75. However, I want to at least be completely transparent to the partners that we are in for the tag. This can happen, but in my opinion, I don't know about yours, I feel like it's unlikely, at least from what I noticed.
I would frame it the exact same way. I think it's unlikely to lose him, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah, it's definitely not impossible because we've seen it before. There's one horse called Get Her Number. If people know that horse was regressing, and then Diodoro claimed him. Now he's a 100 buyer stakes horse again. So it's definitely possible. But again, I would say frame it as unlikely as what we were talking about before. Tony, real quick, and then we'll talk about the sale and kind of round up with Select C. Is Second City Saints race, which just got carded today, I believe. This is a Sunday at Woodbine. It is race number 6, a main special weight for 115,100 Canadian dollars, I believe. I don't think that's US dollars. I think it's Canadian dollars.
Canadian, yeah.
Is probably like, $2 USD, but obviously I'm joking. It's field of 8 that gets drawn into this race here. We do not have the morning lines in here, but Sophia Vives takes up the mount, who actually just won at Keeneland from for the horse that lost to John the Beerman last time out. Funny enough,
yeah,
she
for
won on
Ravelli.
Murdoch.
That was a good ride.
It was a very good ride. So we get her here on Second City Saint. I'll show the form right here, Tony. There's a couple others in here that have run similar numbers to us, but no one really stands out. I think we're right in the mix.
Yeah, especially if we get back to that like 65 buyer that we started her with. And after going long, she should have a little extra fitness going into this. So I expect her to run well. Woodbine has been a house of horrors for us. So we're bringing a horse called Saint. Maybe we can perform a little exorcism with Woodbine as we failed to run good there. But Kelsey has picked out this spot. She thinks that the maiden races early in the meet at Woodbine have been coming up pretty weak. And I told her if she feels good about sending her north of the border, then let's do it.
Yeah, and said she's run well on turf. She's run fine on synthetic. Last race, Tony just completely draw a line through it. She wanted to go long, doesn't like to go long. She just completely faded at the quarter pole. Again, she's a sprinter. There's nothing you can do. Tony he has this special knack for turf sprinters, and so it tried to get out of the knack, right back into it. Even though she's going synthetic, going 6, I think she's got a big chance. Like I said, with completely crossing out that last race. The only other horse that probably has run similar numbers to what she's run is the one horse who actually ran it last time out with Catherine Day Phillips, who's a really nice Woodbine trainer, with a last year bug who I think just knocked off his bug title either at the beginning or the end of last year, but got a 71 buyer next time out. Most likely will be the favorite just off that number, because a lot of horses, if they take a big step forward, they tend to do it second time out. But this is only a $12,000 purchase. So could, again, off the layoff, lots of things can go wrong. But in terms of a maiden race, sorry, what?
Say that again? I was going to say off the layoff.
Right. So there's a lot of things that can happen here. They're all babies. And as Kelsey said, this spot has been precariously picked out for Second City Saint to hopefully get off the mark.
And I think we should point out, just for partners, I could see a very common question would be why Woodbine and why not run her in Kentucky. We just want to get her back to doing what we know she can do, which is turf/synthetic sprinting. There are no options for her on the grass in Kentucky unless we're going to go up and face those $400,000 monsters, which is just not her level right now. So in an effort to find a group that we can beat and get our preferred distance, because dirt is just not going to be a thing for her. We've trained her over it. She's out of a whole turf family, that same Smoke and Jay family. And on the top, Raging Bull, that's an all turf stallion. So the turf, if we felt like if we ran on the turf, it would just be a wasted race. So instead of that, we decided to ship up here to Woodbine, where we believe we can win.
Yeah, and those turf races were when she was 2 years old, right, Tony? So even though they were open, we thought she could compete then. She finished 3rd and 2nd. However, you get to the 3-year-old year, it becomes, no pun intended, it becomes a completely different animal.
Yeah.
So
definitely,
like I said, Second City Saint, we are very high on her. We're hoping that she can run her race. And again, shipping up north of the border, that could open up a lot of races, because once you get out of the maiden ranks, you have a bunch of different options in Kentucky to run her back on the turf. So those will be, hopefully we can get her off the mark here. Sophia Vives aboard. It's probably a decent price. She's been pretty heavily backed every single time. She'll probably be about 5-1, I think, somewhere in that, maybe 7-2, somewhere in that type of range. And hopefully we can get that done. Tony, away from the races, let's recap the sale. There's a lot of fun things to go on. Not number one, of course, being the absolute fantastic ROI that we were able to put out there with the babies that we ended up selling, and we still have one to sell. So there's a lot of big things to look forward to. But again, bought them for, I believe, is $190,000 and sold them north of $1.2 million.
Yeah, the American Pharoah and the Ghost Zapper, I knew were nice horses. I went and saw them train at Tom's in February, and I left there blown away by the American Pharoah especially. And Tom couldn't stop talking about how much he loved the Ghost Zapper filly. And those two became absolute home runs for us, returning basically 7 times what we paid for them. The Pharoah is going to end up in Steve Asmussen's barn, so it's never a bad thing to end up with the all-time leading trainer.
No.
I'm not sure where the Ghost Zapper and the Olympiad are going. The people that bought the Ghost Zapper have a bunch of different trainers, so could end up anywhere. And then the same thing with the Olympiad.
Just for my sake, and why not to talk about the partners? Did Winchell buy the? So that would make sense why it immediately goes to Steve. And then who bought the Ghost Zapper?
Both the Ghost Zapper and the Olympiad were bought by Bloodstock Agent.
Oh, by just a blood. Okay, that makes a lot of sense why they wouldn't know. But Winchell makes a ton of sense. Obviously, being the Colt, that'd be very cool to see that horse go far for Asmussen. And he ended up being a Ridgeling. So there's a lot of things that I think hit on the price a little bit. I think he could have gone for even more if that didn't end up. But lots of great things to come up from the sale. And Tony, this hopefully opens up, a lot of pin hooking opportunities coming up. Again, probably through Tom McCrocklin, but they hope this ROI can kind of show partners that you and Tom both know what they're doing, and we can all get in a bigger group next year.
Yeah, so we'll do this again next year. I'll probably start raising money end of July, August for the pin hooking group. Usually we do a higher share on that, but no, hopefully, I don't know that we'll return 120% ROI every year, but I think it's a very profitable road for us to go down, and we'll continue to go down it. And hopefully some of the partners will use their profits in the ROI to get into so we can buy a higher brand of 2-year-old at the sales.
Yeah. And speaking of higher brand of 2-year-old, Tony, with your biggest purchase in our Crownsway life at the 2-year-old sale was the 2-year-old that we ended up buying, the Street Sense filly. I'm going to bring up I should have had this up already, but I'll let you talk about it while you go through it. But I'll bring up her page right now. This is one horse that when we went back to see our horses and record a bunch of videos for them, this was the one that always kept catching our eye, and yours especially. Brought her out. She looked fantastic. Ended up buying her for $190.
Yeah. No, she's a huge pedigree. She's out of the 2007 Kentucky Derby winner Street Sense. I believe he's the 2006 2-year-old champion as well. And the mother is Taylor's Vision, who is, I think, a 5-time stakes winner. Kind of at that lower level, but a really sound war horse type for a mare. And so when you breed the best of the best, you hope for the best. And that's what we're doing here, buying probably out of one of the top stallions we've ever bought out of, and obviously a very quality stakes mare. 190 is a big investment. What the shares we're planning on selling for this is 10,000 a share. We're partners. We will be doing the same half share increments for returning partners that we've done in the past. We've kicked around the idea of adding a second horse to this group or not. We've decided now we will not add a second horse to this group. It will be just her. Just adds, it's higher upside for the partners. You don't want the profits of one horse being eaten up by a second one. So that's why we're going to keep the 2-year-old to one 2-year-old. Yeah, and there she is. She's a big, good-looking filly. She looks like a colt.
Yeah.
She's got a very athletic walk about her. At some point, I can kind of teach people what I'm looking at in these, but you can see the big shoulder, the big engine, and she's got a big back end too. So, everything, she's very well proportionally built together. And there really wasn't any red flags for me with her. It's a good, clean walk. You're looking for any sort of crookedness. And I don't see any with her.
Yeah.
She looks
go ahead.
Very good. And she breezed the same as our Ghost Zapper filly, which was 21 flat. I believe our Ghost Zapper filly galloped out a little bit better. But me and you, we watched this video at nauseum. I mean, it's a driving rainstorm as she's working. And you can see here, she's looking to the right a little bit. So you take those things out, she might have even been able to work faster into the 20-4, 20-3 range. And had that happened, she'd have never been in our range.
Right.
So I think we're very thankful to get her. And I've already sold 12 shares of her. So more than half of her is already sold. So if anyone wants in on her, please reach out to me. She's going to go to Kelsey, where our claiming horses will be going to Armando. And she's already in Kentucky. She's going to be turned out for about a month, and then we'll bring her in and get started on her.
Yeah, and it's like Kelsey's done it before with us. She's always good at cracking into those 2-year-olds. If she can get into there by the fall, obviously you said she's so well built already. There's no fat camp for this filly as there was with a couple last year. Of course, Minnesota Money being that aforementioned filly, but yeah, we're very excited with her. And again, you said to me, Tony, at the sale, I think our previous biggest purchase at the sale was Smokin' Jay at 75,000, and now this
Smokin' Jay and Brittany's Way were the highest. I mean, not counting Shards and Otago, who we were just small minority partners on. But even if you bring those into account, I think she's the second nicest horse we've ever bought at a 2-year-old sale. The nicest one being Otago.
Yeah,
and
who was 375.
Yeah,
and was partnered.
And she worked better than Otago. Otago was jumping shadows, but Otago is just such a physical standout. But she's right up there with him, and not as big as some of the bigger horses we've bought. But she's a good sized filly. I'd put her probably in the Minnesota Money camp as far as size. How big she'll be after Minnesota shedded all the weight. But so no, I'm really looking forward to her. So shares for her are now available, and they are still available for the claiming group as well until we claim something. We dropped a claim on a horse named Editor yesterday for the claiming group and lost a 16-way shake. It's when the nice horses run in Kentucky, everyone's in the claim box, and Armando said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "We might as well just get in the raffle and see what happens." And we'll keep taking a shot at these nice horses. We look at claiming races in Kentucky every day, and sooner or later we'll have a couple for this claiming group and be able to get started on that as well.
Yeah, and again, as Tony mentioned, those shares are still available if everyone wants to get in. That'll be a high volume, high activity group. They'll be running again probably every 3 weeks or something like that, and the horses will be in, out, and that's why T-Lore is such a fantastic thing. So again, to round it up here, guys, again, go sign up for T-Lore if you haven't already. It's just first name, last name, all caps. Any partner that's been a part of any of these horses that are running right now is in T-Lore, and it's completely free to you guys. So again, all caps, first name, last name for both username and password. Go get in T-Lore. It's a fantastic app to where, again, you can see all our horses, all the workouts, videos, entries. You get notifications straight to your phone. It's a fantastic service that we now use. So again, first name, last name, all caps, username, password. Go get into T-Lore on both your computer and on the T-Lore app on your guys' phones. Again, email us at anthonyrallo@crownswayracing.com or DM us on Twitter at Crownsway Racing if you want to get into either our Select C, which is that Street Sense filly, which we still need name suggestions for. So keep dropping those to Tony in an email. Again, anthonyrallo@crownswayracing.com. Or if you want to get into the claiming group as well, both those shares are still open. Claiming group is only open, of course, till we get lucky enough to claim a horse in Kentucky. And it's been a wild ride, to say the least, especially at that weekend at Keeneland. Tony, again, lots of fun things coming up here, not only coming up, but that have already happened. And hopefully we can continue it into a good summer. Any parting words for the partners?
Yeah, what do you want to do next week? Maybe we can get some sort of, we'll bring on Dan and maybe another partner and do a Derby preview show for the partners. And we'll go over our previous races, and then we can do kind of Derby preview and let the best handicapper in the world put out his picks and see if we can beat him.
As I see if we can maybe do a little bit of a friendly side bet or something like that. We'll do that. So be on the lookout for that next week. That would be fantastic. I fly out Thursday, so we can work something out next week. But anyway, guys, thank you guys all so much for watching this edition of the Crownsway Video Newsletter. Not only recapping last week's races, but the sale as well. And then the preview for this week's upcoming races of both Shards and Second City State. Good luck to all the partners this weekend with these races, and get in on T-Lore and get in on the new Street Sense filly and claiming group. Thanks so much for watching.